Hey Shadestalkers, this is Rank Dog. This is my second recording for the guild. We're going to do it a little bit different this time. Instead of recording after the fact and narrating after the fact, we're going to do the voice while we're doing live video. So I should better control the pace and cadence of the video so I'm not caught off guard like it was last time and couldn't keep up. So let's start off. We're going to talk about dungeons, we're going to talk about talents, we're going to talk about heroes. So the first thing I wanted to start with, we're going to be looking primarily at dungeons. I want to make it clear that when you're looking at my videos or San7's videos or Dirty Stachio's videos, whoever it may be, you got to recognize that things are going to work differently for you if you're not using the same combination of heroes, usually talents, and skill level. So if you don't have those things in sync, you're not going to be able to replicate what they're doing. One thing that caught me off guard continuously as I tried to do a lot of strats, particularly by Dirty Stachio, is I did not have a Revite Cupid. So a lot of times I would send my Pumpkin Duke on suicide missions to do things that he was doing on the screen. I couldn't duplicate it because of that minor switch in talent. My Cupid has never been able to land a solid Revite talent, so unfortunately I've had to run with other talents, and because of that, a lot of the stuff he does in his videos I cannot duplicate. So just a little heads up on that. With that being said, let's take a trip into Altar and take a look at the heroes I'm running with and talents and skill levels. We'll start off with my main man Druid. Obviously he's my highest level character. I have a 5 and 9 talent, which allows me to heal all 6 of my heroes. I have 6 hero bases, so this is important that I have the 6 heroes being healed. It also gives me a 26% buff on attack, 26% attack, and 240% of my attack goes to heal. I also have Revive for a 5, and you might think this is an odd talent. I love it on Druid. Why? Because I tank with Druid a ton. I tank with him on boss. And that Revive talent saves my butt all the time on boss. I use him to tank in dungeons. I use him to tank on raids. It comes into play in HBM. A lot of times I'd save my bacon in HBM where he's popped back up and dropped a heal on himself immediately and went on with business. So that Revive talent has been critical, especially with Druid, for my success in a lot of things. Again, you need to play to your strengths and your weaknesses. You may not have Revive on Druid, so you may use something else to tank instead, or you may go with a different strategy, like using Pumpkin Duke to tank a lot if you have a Revite on Cupid and Pumpkin Duke, because you can get those guys going, get the heals going a lot quicker. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the video, as well as what you have in your hand as far as heroes. Second, Pumpkin Duke. Who doesn't love Pumpkin Duke? I have a 3 of 5 Berserk. One of the main 3 talents that you're going to have on this guy, the other being Revite, and for those that can't get Berserk or Revite, a lot of times they stick with Heavy Blow if they get it. Also, I have 8 and 9 skill. Critical. As high as you can get that skill, the better off you're going to be. Now we're going to look at Minotaur. He's the key to my no magic run on dungeons. I'm going to show you 2 dungeons today. His talent doesn't come into play as far as dungeons go. Revite is mostly a arena talent for him. I'm not going to use this guy on boss, so that's primarily arena talent. I have 5 and 9. I'd like to have higher, but there's other heroes that are higher priority. Primarily Cupid and then Spirit Mage. Speaking of Spirit Mage, I'm going to look at him. Unfortunately, I only have a 4 of 9 right now. Eventually, I want to hike that up, get it to 6 of 9, and then 5 of 9, and then 6 of 9. 6 of 9 will allow me to hit all 6 heroes in arena plus the pylon. So that's going to come later on, but that's my goal. Heavy Blow, I use that on boss. It's the best I can find on him right now. Eventually I'd like it to get 5/5 Revite, but that's later on down the road. Next we're going to look at Thunder God. He was my best hero for a long time before I swapped Druid with him, and then Cupid kind of moved up in priority. He's 6 of 9. Revite, again, that doesn't really come into play in Dungeon too much. Mostly arena talent, and somewhat on boss. Lastly, but not least, Cupid. This is a guy that I'm focusing on right now because I have my PD 8 of 9. I'm working towards 7 and 9. I'm saving all my shards. I'm using my daily slimes on this guy. 5 of 5, heavy blow, clearly a boss talent, not going to come into play in the dungeons here that we're going to be looking at. So that's the main bunch that I use. Occasionally I'll use a Mortep. I'm not going to use them in these videos today, and I'm going to spend a lot of time. 4 of 9, like to be higher, but he's not my priority right now. He's my HBM MVP. So let's get into doing some dungeon here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is drop points. Drop points are key to doing dungeons. So let's look at a couple common drop points here. To the south, this is a popular one. Drop GA, drop Frenzy, go nuts. Another one is to the side here. Dirty Nostalgia likes to drop up here, around here. I don't really use that. It's for those guys that can really get in there and whack SM, the Spirit Mage, right away. Drop point. My drop point will also takes into account Spirit Mage. I drop over here to this side in this camp, just to the left of here, where Paladin is. I don't. Well, the reason I do that is it's the furthest point away from that you can drop from Spirit Mage. It gives my Thunder God and my SM time to hit this. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to run this crappy because I forgot to put my Spirit Mage back in. But one thing I want to point out here before we get going is the amount of land troops that we have. By land, I mean non-flying troops. You have some over here, some up top here, and these two camps over here are both half and half. The reason I say that is because Minotaur is an MVP of this dungeon. He takes out all those camps, primarily the north and the west camp here. He'll clean those out completely before my heroes even look at them. The other two camps, he's going to take out half the troops, and then he's going to weaken the towers. You see a bunch of towers here, and he's going to weaken all the heroes except for Spirit Mage. Now, because I've got this rolling, I'm just going to run this out quick with Druid / Frenzy. I don't have my best heroes line up here, so I'm just going to whack this real quick. I'm going to throw some magic at it. Normally, like I said, I do this no magic. We're going to get into a magic run here, and a no magic run here in a second. Let me get through this. These 5 heroes are pretty much solid enough where I'm not going to run into very many problems. Just keep Pumpkin Duke alive there at the end. So let's do this proper. Let's get some magic back in here. I'm not really, ignore that. I'll fix that tornado in a bit. So let me put Spirit Mage back in here. And I'll show you what this dungeon looks like, no magic. I showed you on the last run, but I'm going to kind of walk you through it a little bit. Starting off, drop point over here on the east side of this camp. I'm going to drop Druid, and I'm going to drop the rest of my guys. Okay, Druid's going to tank. I'm going to take out there, build up the ramps. I want you to look at the north and west camp here that just got zapped. Look at that. Minotaur took out the east camp right away. First proc, that camp is dead. Now you just saw he took out the north camp. That is completely dead. You notice that Spirit Mage is gone before I even get to him. So ideally, this is how you want to run this. I almost lost Pumpkin Duke at the bottom. Occasionally I do have to drop a regen on that, but as you can see there, I cleared the whole dungeon with no magic. And the reason I was able to do that is the power of Minotaur. He takes out all those land troops, those ground troops, non-flying troops, weakens the towers, clears all the heroes but SM, he weakens them so that my heroes can just go in there and just whack them out real quick. Okay, now the reason why I didn't have SM in there is because I wanted to show you guys a dungeon. This is primarily because I've heard you guys talk, you know, the guys that have just started doing D8, Dungeon 8, that you're looking for a low-key dungeon to do so that you can start farming shards. And when I was new to this dungeon, I kind of did the D40 or the 40 shard dungeon. What I go by their shard output names. This is D40 or this is D39 or shard 39. This is D40. I did the 35 shard dungeon a lot early on if I didn't want to consume magic. This is before gold was raining from the skies after the quest board, and I had to be conservative. Now that gold is so prevalent, I probably would have done the 40 shard dungeon every time. Some people believe in alternating to get better shard drops. I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I haven't seen that, but other people find that successful, so power to them. I usually run the same dungeon over and over again. This dungeon's a little it's easy. I'll show you how to do it. I can do this run only doing GA, and this is going to help out Cold Shadows and a couple of these guys that are just breaking in. So basically what I do, again, I'm using Druid to tank. I'm going to drop him and draw out the Paladin and take out the first couple of towers with my guys. So bam, Druid, dropped him first. See, the Paladin comes down. Now I'm going to take out these first couple, and I'm going to drop GA right here. See that? The reason I do that is that protects my guys from a Spirit Mage proc. That Spirit Mage sits right there, and I GA protects those guys. They take him out. Now we're off to the races. As you're going to see here, we're going to clean out this dungeon with very little problems. If I needed to, I would drop a regen to keep my heroes up, but that's not necessary. Now for you guys that obviously my heroes are a bit higher, I have PD with a skill higher, you may want to drop Frenzy after you break through the Spirit Mage and just wipe that dungeon out real quick. Either way, you should be able to clear that dungeon using either Frenzy or a combination of, a GA or a combination of GA, Frenzy, and Regen. To clean that dungeon out, you shouldn't lose heroes. You should be able to clean that out every time just by doing that method. By dropping the GA at that point in time, you're guaranteed to keep your heroes up through a Spirit Mage proc and to kill that little ninja off in the beginning there, so that you're free and clear to just shoot up into that dungeon fully procced out and just wipe it clean. Okay, this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut it short here. I just wanted to give you guys some ideas for running those dungeons. Feel free to pepper me with questions in chat. I'll be happy to address those. But, you know, we're heading out, so catch you guys later, and thanks for watching.